Hello and welcome to Nocab Game Design. Sometimes a game needs something new to keep things interesting, a new toy for the player to play with. In the past, I've talked about how to introduce more substantive content, like Halo's Scorpion Tank, a fan favorite of the entire series, link in the top right. However, today I want to talk about small content. What is it and how to introduce it properly? Small content is a mechanic, item, or asset that's, well, small. There's no hard and fast definition here, but generally small content only appears infrequently or doesn't provide a major impact to the main gameplay loop, a gimmick of a certain level or some other modifier. Small content is usually optional and oftentimes is only available to the main player, which makes it distinct from other gameplay modifiers like game weather. Here, in the first combat operation of Chapter 10 titled Infiltration of Thousand, the developers add some so-called small content, these little minecart trolleys. And let me re-emphasize, they're little. They're physically small, only big enough to fit a single unit, but they also have a relatively small impact on main gameplay. The trolley doesn't return to the start after unloading its cargo. If the player wanted to put multiple characters through, they can't. Only one at a time is allowed on the high ground. A single unit in the right place and the right time can be quite powerful, but it's only a single unit. In a level where the player is managing 9 units and the enemy has about 20-ish, a single character can only do so much. So this is small content. The trolley doesn't offer a major change to the gameplay or strategy and is entirely optional. But why would you as a designer want to add small content to your game, and how do you do it effectively? And my answer here is going to be similar to why questions that I've answered in previous videos, to make the game fresh. In my video about game weather, I said that most players want the same, but different. Small content can also provide that. It's different because it's new, but it's also the same gameplay because it's small. In the previous video, I talked about how the developers are adding elements of the puzzle genre to increase the game's challenge. Here, the small content is a bit of a tactical puzzle. What is the one unit you want to send across? A shock trooper to clean up? A sniper to provide cover fire? A scout to run past and get a flanking position? And if the player decides not to use the trolley, they effectively fail the puzzle, and this level becomes much more challenging. To keep things simple and short, why add small content? Because it's a good way to add richness to a game. So how do we leverage it to the maximum potential? How do we design good small content? The Valkyria Chronicles developers here use small content in 2 ways. First, it gives the player an advantage. The high ground gives a natural view of the battlefield, allowing a unit to safely scout ahead and get a flanking shot on enemies lower down. But at this point in the game, information is almost as valuable as getting kills. Safely scouting is the real key here. Secondly, this little trolley allows a player to negate a disadvantage the developers set up. There's a bunch of snipers up here who would be hard to deal with from below. The level architecture here is a gauntlet. Tanks block the narrow path, snipers and mortars rain down on the player, enemy shock troopers hold key choke points. The small content allows a player to remove the snipers and gain an advantage on the shock troopers below. Now, the trolleys don't remove all the challenge of the level, and that's good design. No one thing should ever trivialize a level. But they do give the player an advantage and some relief. Overall, this small content is well designed. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this small video about small content. If you learned something, then please consider subscribing, or even just liking the video. It really helps out smaller channels like this one. In the next video, we destroy this forced labor camp and free the imprisoned Darksons. I'll see you there.
You think one bomb's gonna blow this thing up?
I'm not proposing we use it on the train. We use it on this.